Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Logan, and today we're taking a look at one of the new HP tools from Ryobi. This one is the Ryobi 18V ONE Brushless 7¼ circular saw. This one's the PBLCS300B. We're gonna open it up and try it out. Let's get started. Welcome back, guys. Again, we're gonna take a look here at the new circular saw from Ryobi, but first we'll look at some of the specs on the box and then we'll open up and try it out. Now, this one is part of their brand new HP line. They also have their compact HP line, and we have all 6 of their compact tools up here. Again, this is part of their full size HP line. So this is, again, the 7¼ It has 325 cuts per charge. It has up to 40% faster cutting. This one comes with the 0 to 56 degree bevel capacity. It's adjustable gauge cutting up to 2 7/16 depth. Has the die cast upper guard for increased durability. This one's actually really cool. It has a vacuum dust adapter to help keep a cleaner work area. So that's a first for the battery-powered Ryobi tools. As far as I'm aware, I don't believe they made one with the dust adapter on the 7¼ circular saw. I could be wrong, but I believe that's a first. It's the first one I've had anyway. And then something I really like is the onboard LED work light. Now, one thing this one doesn't have that I wish it did was the laser. It would be really nice to have that, the laser sight. Some of the previous versions had lasers and some of them still do, but this one does have the LED, which is still good. In fact, all of the HP tools thus far that we've tried out have all had LED lights, which is awesome. Really like that. As far as additional specifications, it has up to 4,300 reps per minute. Again, at 0 degrees, it goes 2 7/16". At 45 degrees, it goes 1 3/4". 5/8" arbor size, and of course the 7¼ saw blade. Included in this one is the saw. This is the tool only, so no battery, no charger. And the last thing before we open this one up, one thing we did was grab a Diablo blade, because typically the blades that are included they're good, but not the best. I personally really like the Diablo blades to go hand in hand with any of these saws. So we did pick up a Diablo blade. This one specifically is for finished plywood because I've got a countertop that I'm cutting, and I wanted something a little more on the finished side. So this one does have 40 teeth in comparison to the 24 teeth that comes in the box. So it's not gonna be an exact comparison. Just wanna let you know that we're gonna be trying both of these blades out and see how it goes. All right, that's it for the specs on the box. Let's go ahead and open this one up here. Just a little bit of tape on the top. There we go. A little cardboard packaging, operator's manual. Comes with a new cordless ONE 40 volts. So they got a little advertisement for their 40 volt line, which I also really like. Oh, here comes the 24 carbide teeth. Again, 7¼ 184 millimeters. So I really like the new green on them. Most of the ones just came with standard black, straight black. So that's pretty cool. It's got a little green on there. All right, and let's see, there is the adapter, like the vacuum adapter here. It's pretty cool. And I think the last thing out is the saw. So that's it for the box, nothing else in there. That out of the way. Take off the plastic here. And for how big the box is, I know how big it is because it's as big as the old brushless one that we have. Unfortunately, I don't have it here as a comparison, but this feels bigger than I thought it would in the box. So it's definitely the full size 7¼ and man, does it look good. I am really love this new grip, the new brushless HP line look. It's just really slick. That's really cool. So let's go through some of the features here. We'll put the blade on and try it out. So everything so far looks pretty standard. We'll start on the top with the grip. You have your primary and secondary handle grips up at the top. Feel really good in the hand. You have your lock here. So the trigger is always locked until you push with either your index finger or your thumb to release it. So it stays locked until you release it. Okay, so that's nice. Moving down the top here, you have the lock for the blade. This is your blade lock. So you gotta push that to keep this from spinning so you can tighten your blade. It has on the back here, I love to have the Allen wrench or the hex tools storage right on the saw so that you can change the blade at any time. You have your blade guard here. So this is your guard down there. And then you have your depth release there. And that is a hefty duty. They are definitely upping the quality. This entire thing is casted. It just feels much better than previous models. And I think most of them were casted as well. This just, it definitely feels like it's maybe a different material or different alloy maybe. Feels really good. On the front here, we do have the your degree. So we've got the mark at the bottom, which shows a 0 and goes all the way up to 56. So it slides all the way out like that. Right there, okay. You do have the screw here, which looks like it's gonna lock in if you wanted to lock or help fix where 0's at, I guess. Just a little gauge there. On the top here, we do have a couple of numbers. So you have your, depending on how far over, so it's got your measurements on the shoe, on the casted shoe here. You've got some of the measurements. That's kind of nice. Again, those are casted, and all of this is I don't see anything printed. Everything so far is casted on here, just or molded in. So that's really cool. LED light, we'll have to see how it works. It is behind your angle or your degree here, is the LED light, so we'll see how much that actually illuminates. It definitely looks like it will do a good job because the bulb itself is at an angle towards your blade, which is gonna help you see what you're cutting right there as long as it's free from debris. That'll be nice. And then, let's see, so I'm guessing the blade, yep, it's gonna go on just like that. So right on the back here, and it looks like we're probably missing a mounting piece because there's a screw, that's got a screw piece, and then that just goes on just like that, which we'll have to see if we lost some hardware. So it looks like we're gonna have to put that together to get the screw, or get this vacuum adapter piece connected. Oh, there's the screw. So I found the screw to mount the vacuum adapter, and two things that are interesting. I'm not sure which bag it was in, so be careful when you're opening it. I assume it was in with the vacuum piece. It was probably even in the little slot there, and it just fell out as I was moving it around. The second thing that's interesting is it actually is a T20 head. So the screw is actually a T20, which if you don't have T20 lying around, I guess they assume that everyone has T20 now. I didn't think it was that common, but there you go. So I'm just gonna put it in here. Doesn't take much. It might take a little bit more than that. But this should just, this isn't like your, shouldn't be receiving a lot of load on it. And this is a plastic adapter, so I don't want to tighten it too much. but it does look like it's going to take maybe a little bit more than, maybe I can get it here. Yeah, there we go. So did that. Again, this is the T20 star head. Goes on just like that. Looks good. I think that's it. Obviously, battery. Now, one thing that's interesting about this one over the previous, these other ones, these ones don't have the HP connectors. So it's interesting that they're HP compact tools, but they don't have the additional HP battery connectors on them. Where the saw, this full size, does have these HP connectors on it to take advantage of the HP batteries. And they did mention that the HP tools, while they don't need the HP batteries, definitely perform better if you have the HP battery. So that's cool. I like seeing the HP connectors on here. We'll see how it performs with each one. In my experience, it's been only a slight difference with the HP tools and the HP batteries versus the non-HP batteries, but it's worth giving it a shot. So let's throw in the Ryobi blade and give it a try. And we'll throw in the Diablo blade, give that a try, see how we like it, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. All right, so first up we've got the Ryobi 24 tooth blade. It has a little protective ring around the blade there, which is nice. And we're going to go ahead and set this up. Let's actually release. So this is a trick that with the last brushless blade, you guys said open it up, and that definitely makes it easier. So one trick is to open this all the way up. Helps you get in and access this a little bit easier. And then you can, if I can find the lock here, pull the lock, and release that. Makes it so much nicer to get in here and actually get to that. So this side out, install behind blade. It does have this ring here. This is the bearing or what the blade sits on. So slide that in. Looks good. Set this down. So that's nice. The blade does face out like that, and then goes on like that. Now, if I remember right, the Diablo blade, no, Diablo's the same way, okay. On the previous model, the Diablo blade actually went backwards on it. So it's nice, this one does not, this one does go the correct way. So we're gonna go ahead and put that on, tighten this down, okay. Find the catch, there it is. Okay, tighten that down. Okay, there we go. Got it. That's actually really nice. It almost can stand up completely without, in fact, I think it can. Yeah, there it goes. So it can actually stand on the table without touching the table. It might be just touching just a hair, but looks good. Now we'll go ahead and try it out, and then we'll come back for the Diablo. All right, guys, so we have the Ryobi blade on again, and we are here. What we're gonna do, since we have the 6-gallon shop vac from Ryobi, we're gonna throw this on, and it does just slide on just like that over the top. Now, I'm sure you could get other adapters, but this one actually just slides right on. This will be a little bit challenging because the hose is so stiff. If you haven't seen our video where we talk about the 6-gallon vacuum, make sure to go check that out. But the hose is still, after 2 years, I think, is still just really stiff. So we'll see how this works as far as using it. Obviously, you can see the vacuum's already moving around. What we're gonna do, we'll try some of these cross cuts on the 2x4s. We'll try a rip cut on just a piece of plywood. We'll switch out the blade. We have this melamine fiberboard piece of countertop or hard top, they call it, I think, from IKEA. We're gonna cut that up. We've got a blue line here. We're gonna cut with the Diablo blades. We'll switch out the blade, try that out. But first we have the non-HP. This is just the standard 4 amp hour P197 battery. We'll throw this in here. Slide that one out of the way. And we'll just try a nice quick cross cut on this 2x4 here. Just like this. No problem. That's pretty slick. We'll try another one here. Very nice. Now, one thing I'll note is I didn't realize it as we opened it, but the blade is on the opposite side from what I'm used to. I'm used to having the blade on the other side, so this cuts a little bit different. One other thing, I didn't turn on the vacuum yet, so obviously there's that. We'll go ahead, we'll switch over to the 3 amp hour battery. I'll turn on actually I'll do one cut without so you can hear it, and then we'll turn on the vacuum and see how the vacuum does. So here's one cut without. May have just been the board, but it sounded a little bit different. We'll go ahead and turn it on, throw in a battery here. So actually throw this 4 amp hour battery in. So I'm gonna try something real quick. I'm gonna vacuum up, and then I'm going to do a cut and see how much actually falls, because it didn't feel like as much fell that time. All right, so we've set up a shot down below. You're gonna see my legs, and we're gonna cut another one with the vacuum on, see how much dust actually falls this time. Very interesting. So as I suspected, very little dust hit the ground. In fact, most of the dust and stuff were ricochets, stuff that bounced off and onto the table. The ground's actually really clear. So good job with the vacuum attachment. That looks awesome. That's gonna keep things really nice and clean. Let's move on to some rip cuts with the plywood. This isn't anything too fancy, so we'll just do a single rip cut. So we're gonna go ahead and draw a line here just to see if we can get a nice straight cut. Okay, so we got a good little line. Hit the vacuum. Cut looks clean, and obviously, again, just some particle board, nothing too fancy. Goes through, the ground is clean, guys. Like I'm really impressed with how well that's keeping the ground clean. Again, obviously there's some overspray or some of these shards that are getting flung elsewhere, but in general, it's keeping that nice and clean, and the saw nice and clean. That was another thing I noticed is with the light on here. Obviously we've got plenty of light right now, but it did illuminate. I could see light illuminating the entire shoe, the front of the shoe here. So that's good, especially where, again, this feels backwards to me. It's on the opposite side of what I'm used to. I'm used to the blade being on this side, so it is interesting. You know, just looking at the zero, keeping on the line, worked out great. Let's go ahead. We're gonna switch out the blade for the Diablo blade. I do have some other hardboard back here we're gonna cut. It's really thin. I think it's an 1/8 of an inch hard backer board. And then we're gonna cut the tabletop. So we'll do tabletop and the hardboard. So, 2 and One thing to note, this one does have a sticker on it. Make sure you remove this sticker before installing the blade. And of course, it's the extra sticky kind, which means it is not going to be easy. You'd think they'd make this a little bit easier to get off, since it's really want to take it off before cut things. Obviously, again, if you're cutting stuff that doesn't matter, like framing 2x4s, maybe you don't care, but you probably don't want to get your saw all gummed up. There we go. It almost came off. Whew. Those are sharp little tips. Okay, blade's ready. Let's go ahead and install it here. Oh, oh. Okay, tighten down. We'll get the Ryobi blade out of the way, slide this over, and start cutting. So again, we've got this IKEA tabletop, or worktop they call it. It's melamine laminate pressed onto particle board. So we do have the finished plywood Diablo blade. This has the 40 teeth, which just makes hopefully a cleaner cut, is the idea. One other thing I'll point out is that we did put the tape on the top. We actually wrapped it around as recommended, just to keep from getting splinters and other things that kind of pop off as you're cutting. So again, hopefully this does a good job. Let's give it a try. All right, there it is. Nice, clean cut. Right down the line. That did not struggle at all. Obviously, again, this is just their particle board, so it's not anything too crazy, but as far as the clean cut, let's go ahead and tape off the tape and see how this did. So again, because of the way the blade works, the blade's coming up from the bottom. It's going to fracture, which is why we had this upside down, because it's breaking through this way. You get a clean cut on the bottom, and then these break out. So the fact that broke out like that, you can see not a big deal because it's on the bottom. If we flip this over, the hope is that the top, just like that, and beautiful seamless line right there. Little bit of a nick on this side. Again, this was the last, as it came out that way, this was the last nick. So a little bit of a nick there, but otherwise the whole front, everything else, beautiful looking line. Now we do have a couple pieces of end piece that we could put up against it. We're not gonna do that right now, but this will work perfectly in this space. Again, just extending my work table, my computer table in my office, and this will work perfectly. Now let's go ahead and do the hardboard. What I like to call backboard, or normally it's on the back of dressers and whatnot. We'll go ahead and cut a piece of this, see how it does. So we have the 1/8 inch hardboard. We're gonna go ahead with the Diablo blade, and we'll turn on the vacuum and see how it goes. cut looked pretty good. Let's go ahead and try another one. Super clean cut on the hardboard. Again, we did cut so that the bottom, or rather the top was on bottom during the cut, so you're seeing less of the breakaways and more on the bottom. So looks good there. That this will work perfectly for what we need. So let's talk about some first impressions of this one. So far, I really like how well this is made. Again, that's something we've seen with these new HP tools is the grips, the quality. I mean, just in general, the Ryobi tools have just kind of slowly crept up in quality to, honestly, in my opinion, semi-pro or pro level. We've had a lot of people that have commented that said that they're professionals, that they use these tools on a regular basis. So that's really, really cool. Very interesting for me personally, just the fact that the blade's on the opposite side. Not a big deal. Probably a bigger deal to professionals again, or people that use these a lot. That I mean, that's part of the reason Diablo puts the blade maybe on that side, is because that's the standard. So cool that Ryobi is doing that with these tools, doing what's normal or natural instead of what, again, I'm used to with the smaller saws. The vacuum, I'm pleasantly surprised. I was not expecting a lot, but it made significantly less mess on the ground with the 2x4s and with the plywood. With these other ones, with the particle board is particle board, it's gonna go everywhere, and there was definitely some dust. But in general, it kept the saw, the shoe, I often see a lot of buildup around the shoe. It kept a lot of that off. There's very, very little in spots, which allows you to see your lines and your measurement and keep your work area as you're cutting a little bit cleaner. That was very, very nice. As far as the HP batteries, this wasn't a long enough test to really see the difference between the HP and the non-HP battery, but again, like that it has those additional contacts. Really, really like the onboard storage, being able to switch out the blade quickly or tighten the blade if you needed to is nice. We didn't test out the angle degree or you know, cutting this at an angle. Personally, I don't love cutting angles with these circular saws, but technically you can do it. It has that ability. And the depth, we didn't play a lot with the depth, but again, being able to go up and down to over 2 inches in depth is very nice. And again, for changing the blade, makes it a lot easier. So in general, guys, I am very happy with what it's done. I'm gonna continue using it. In fact, circular saws, as far as saws go, is probably one of my favorite. I think they're some of the most versatile as far as the everyday user, things you can cut, 2x4s, plywood, things like that. If you get one of the Craig extenders, you can cut big sheets of plywood and make a really nice straight line. I have one of those and really enjoy that as well. Super excited, glad they came out with these larger HP tools, and plan on continuing to use it. We'll keep you updated. Let us know in the comments what you'd like to see us cut with this saw. If there's any other HP tools that you'd like to see us review, make sure to comment below. Obviously, we want to get our hands on as many as we can, but if you guys tell us which ones you want to see first, we'll try and grab those as quickly as possible. Again, thanks for watching. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. See you later, guys. Tickle in my throat, basically that entire friggin' thing. Okay. Perfect timing. That's the stuff. Give me a